There's a journey of every individual who is sitting in this premises, who is there everywhere around. But today, being the 561st talk session of mine, this was a challenge because the entire talk session lasts for close to 2 hours because the journey has been that long. To comprise it into just a few minutes is indeed a task, but I will not share all the episodes, but will just touch 2 of the episodes which are very dear to my heart. It's rightly said that, between the dream and the destination, there are incidences which happen in everyone's life. There are incidences which make you or break you. One such incident knocked my life 5.5 years ago. Every single day, we set up an alarm at night, 100% thinking that tomorrow what I'm supposed to do, maybe I have meetings, I have this workload, I have to drop my child to school, to classes, to so many things around. We are so sure we are going to wake up the next morning. That's the reason we set up that alarm. Exactly that thing was done by me because maybe we always take life for granted. And the similar things were happening in my life as well. As a normal routine, the alarm was set. Next morning, the alarm was buzzing, ringing, but I had no strength to reach up to the alarm and put it off. I was in severe pain. From Nashik, I was hospitalized to Mumbai. Maybe hundreds of times I must have visited Mumbai, but that time was a different time altogether because that day, that time, I was traveling in an ambulance. You always feel whenever you listen to the ambulance siren, you listen to ambulance sirens these days quite often. And when we were kids, we could hardly, once in a blue moon if you could see an ambulance or listen to that, but these days it's a very routine phenomenon. I used to always think when I used to see an ambulance, who might be inside, what might be that person undergoing, and exactly the similar things were happening with me. Maybe I was under painkillers, so I was not feeling the pain, but I had only one hope, that I should reach Mumbai alive. That was the only thing. I was holding on to the last breath as if, it's going to be do or die situation. And exactly same thing happening. And the moment I reached the hospital in Mumbai, the only thing on my mind was, I just happened to join my hands and thank God that thank you so much I reached this hospital alive. And second time, again, I joined the hands for all the people right from Nashik to Mumbai, whosoever were there on the streets who gave the way for my ambulance, contributing my being here today. That's what life is all about. The moment I was there, struggling between the pain and everything, there were so many things which were, coming up in my life. But to make it short, an immediate surgery was planned. And the moment the doctor said that surgery is going to be for a few hours and then another 4 days and you go back to Nashik, and I was like relieved. One thing I had realized that it was almost close to 20 odd hours that entire incidents had happened. That morning till next day morning that I was struggling with all this, I realized I had not even touched my cell phone. We all live in this era where, every 24/7 we have to check, oh my God, what's happening in this world? WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. These people we don't see every single day. The people who we meet every single day, we hardly say good morning or good night or send them messages with pigeons and flowers. That time I realized, while they were taking me in the operation theatre, the person who loves me from his bottom of his heart, the person whom I must have not sent good morning or good night messages, my husband was there. Life teaches you incidences there and then. We live for social networking, and that networking are just contacts. They will not be there. If you have to test your life, get hospitalized. Check whosoever says that we are your closest ones, do they visit you? After the entire surgery, I was out of the anesthesia and trying to gauge, trying to, wake up. But I realized that there are a lot of things which have been pricked to me and I was not able to get up from the bed. And I realized that the surgery took multiple hours. I was waiting and right from the ICU I could see a small window, and from that small window I could see my husband holding my little one, and I was in tears. In no way I could get up and touch my child. How easily we take life for granted. Nothing is going to happen to me. Nothing. You never know, time is ticking. My hands were shivering, my hands were in emotion where I just wanted to touch my little one, but I couldn't. Once I was moved to the room, doctors came and met me and they said that there were a lot of things we discovered right on the operation table, and you have been diagnosed positive for cancer, and 50% of the battle we have won, that was surgery, and 50% will be chemotherapies. My goodness, I never ever thought of, who thinks of, something like this. It was striking my, they mentioned that we start with your chemo in the next session. It's going to be a long treatment. There'll be this thing happening, and whatsoever I could relate with, so many Hindi movies which we have seen are always showing that a person who gets cancer, a cancer patient, passes away. There is I've never seen a success story. It was so difficult for me to digest that. They said, you will have to quit the job. I was so happy with everything. Everything was so contented, perfect in the pink picture of my life. There was this bad black patch. I had to quit my job. When they started with the first chemo, there's so many things on my mind. Everything I used to remember that, how easily I used to do that, how easily things were happening. Now I'm going to lose every single thing of my life, because fear is one thing which is there with every single individual, of losing of anything in your life. It can be your job, your work profile, it might be your loved ones, it might be hair. Very dear to me and very devastating to learn that the first chemo will be started. I had a port fix here, below my neck and above my chest, and there were too many things happening in my world, and it was a turmoil of emotions, a roller coaster of too many things happening at one go. And with the first chemo, they started to prick on my hand, and they decided there were too many pricks on my hand. They decided to start with my thighs, and both the hands were free that moment. That thing, was giving me something, some positive thing. My husband was there with me. I told him, just pass on my laptop. He said, VDS ka, generally husbands give a wonderful statements. So he said that, you're starting with your first chemo, so many things are going to happen. I said, it's with me. Can you just pass on my laptop? He said, okay. That moment, I was jobless, I was healthless, but I was not hopeless. Umeed pe duniya kaayam hai. That was right in my heart. That moment, with my first chemotherapy, right on the hospital bed, I launched my company, Young Minds Educational Solutions and Consultancy Services. I never knew where it's going to take me, how far I'm going to go. My husband said just typing 4 words on a laptop on a hospital bed is not going to, make your company a big company in education sector. But I had always aimed of having, getting into educational consultancy. Finally, I did that. You can fight with the entire world, but not with your mother. My father and my mother were continuously calling that why this entire thing is prolonged for so long, what's exactly wrong. They wanted to know, and my husband said, I will tell them. The phone buzzed and my mom was speaking on the other side, and she said, Kai zale. My mom's favorite actor, he is Rajesh Khanna, and nothing was there on my mind, and I just mentioned that Babu Musha hai, zindagi badi honi chahiye. lambi nahi. She crashed in Nashik. I was all in tears because I know what's going on in her mind to see her daughter in this stage. But finally, those were the days. Things happened one after the other. Everybody in Nashik started asking that exactly where you are and what's happening in your life. And I said, like, I'll be so happy to tell you that yes, I've started with a company in education sector. People are seeing me with a different hairdo and everything because I was wearing a wig for a good amount of time because I was traveling. Young Minds Educational Solutions and Consultancy Services deals with residential schools, international schools, and I started with admissions for international schools in from Dehradun. Never ever traveled alone. That was my first ever journey, and I am so happy to tell you that it's been hardly any country or any place where I have not traveled alone now. So travel teaches you a lot of things, and exactly everything was going roundabout. I was traveling for an entire 1 year. My doctors were the support system. They said, yes, you can wear a mask, you can take your medication, don't strain yourself, but you can do what you're doing, but take care of yourself. 1 year, after 1 year, when we started analyzing the situation, I visited 80 schools across India, and out of 80 schools, only 3 schools gave work to young minds with no loss, no profit. I was hell-bent that, dude, it's okay. I'm penetrating a sector where it's mostly governed by men, because there's a gentleman who is 70 plus years of age, and I really admire him, the way he is into education system, and I used to look forward to meet him someday in Mumbai. And he was taken aback because all those 3 schools which gave work to young minds were with them for 15 years. They said, who is this girl? Coming from some small tier 2 city and penetrating in Dehradun, and what is it happening? And then on top of it, he's saying that she's just a cancer patient, what the hell she's doing? It's not necessary you always meet good people. You meet wonderful, different people who see to it that someday you just close the chapter of your life and just be the way they want you to be. That gentleman came and met me during my 6th chemo in the hospital. I was so happy, thrilled that he's come to meet me. I realized that was not the case. He felt that 50% cancer has already killed her. 50% I will see to it that she loses all her confidence and morale. And he said, "Kaisa lag raha hai?" Dr. Raj Nagarkar is here and he'll understand, and of course he understands that what exactly goes through during chemotherapies. And I said, किसी ने पूछा गालिब से कैसे हो? किसी ने पूछा गालिब से कैसे हो? गालिब ने मुस्कुरा कर कहा, गालिब ने मुस्कुरा कर कहा, जिंदगी में गम है, जिंदगी में गम है, गम में दर्द है, जिंदगी में गम है, गम में दर्द है, दर्द में मजा है और मजे में हम हैं. And that was the moment that sir was strongly associated. He said that, I have met one crackpot person in my life, but no matter what, I wish you all the luck. And that's how it started. Nashik, being my karma bhumi, I was so glad that once I'm coming back into the thing, no matter I had just 3 schools with me, I just arranged a small banquet hall, called lots of my friends that this is what Young Minds is doing and please come and bless me. They said we will 100% come. 350 confirmation. I was so happy. First time in my life, I wrote a press note, called all the press and media people and asked them about, please come and grace the occasion. They said, we'll see, we'll try and come. 5 o'clock was the timing. There was few people from Mumbai who had come to unveil the logo of Young Minds, and I was so excited that so many things are going to happen in my life. From 5, it was 7 o'clock in the evening. Out of 350, 15 people came. What a slap on the face of a cancer patient. Amazing. What she's going to do? Yeah, nothing. It's absolutely fine. We just said that we will be there, but it's fine. I called up the media. They said, "Koni celebrity aayega?" I said, "No, I can't afford any celebrity." They said, "Okay, if we get any space, we'll put your news there somewhere." said, okay, doesn't matter, thank you so much. With those handful of 15 people, I started that entire function, concluded it, but that day realized one thing which is written on my heart, कि नाम ऐसा करो कि काम हो जाए, वरना काम ऐसे करो कि नाम हो जाए. That was one thing in my mind, and it was ticking, 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 and today, proudly standing in front of you, I can say that the company which is started with just 3 schools after the entire visit of entire 1 year during my treatment, now Young Minds is associated with 132 residential schools across India. A school, how an entrepreneur is born is exactly these things are happening in an entrepreneur's life. Failures, 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 and then compilation of failures is success. And that's what I was tasting this success at that moment. And you might be wondering, this is all about education sector, where did those crowns come from? First, and let me put it very clearly to you, those crowns are not meant for any of those beauty pageants, no. Those crowns are meant for the pageant which is only meant for cancer survivors. So it is a beautiful thing which happened. 2015 September I got a call and I was asked that you have been selected for Mrs. India 2015 and next 2 days time you have to report to Delhi. I was amazed, surprised. I said, okay, I'm getting my hair back, but though my skin and everything was not as perfect as I was earlier. But I said, that's wonderful, I would love to go. I asked my husband, my mother-in-law, that thank you, you have given the entry. It was an online entry. They said, no ways, we haven't. I asked so many of my friends, my close family members, they said, no Namita, we have not. When I got into the depth of the entire thing, my entry for Mrs. India 2015 was given by the nurse of the hospital where I was taking treatment. There's some emotions, some relationships, you get to know. It's like you're born with a tag with a surname, but when you actually live your life, that's how you get into different relations. I called up that nurse. She's a South Indian Keralite nurse, and I said, "Nurse, why did you do that?" When I used to sit for my chemos, I used to just scroll over the pictures. I used to show her that I should look like this. This is what I want to do, and this is. And she used to quietly sit and listen to me for hours together. And she asked me, can you just send me a few pictures? And I used to just, send her a few images. That's how she did that. And she said that it's not just for one thing, but I had one thing in mind, that cancer should have a face. And I look up to you for this. Fast forward, I come to 2017, Mrs. Global United Lifetime Queen pageant. That Mrs. India got me a very small, tiny crown, and that was very dear to me. I came back, I landed in Mumbai and directly went to the hospital, hugged that nurse, and I said, see, just because of you I could get this. I'm thrilled, amazed, surprised myself. She said, "Arey, ye to itna chota hai, dikhta bhi nahi hai. You have to do so much more in this." I said, oh my God, look at this. But finally, I took that one thing, and one after the other, the pageants happened. I represented India at Hong Kong for a pageant with health and social cause. That was Mrs. International Worldwide Queen 2015. And in 2017, someone on Instagram just mentioned that, are you an Indian? I said, of course I'm an Indian. They said that we would like to invite you for a pageant, which is for a very different cause. I said, what is the cause? They said, all the contestants are cancer survivors. Thrilled. I said, my goodness, look at the vision of that nurse, that sister. She used to say that, no, there has to be some competition which will be there, something like this. Whenever she used to say, my family always says that if you say something good, positive happening, there's always tathastu. So that tathastu happened that moment. And I called her up and, I told her I was excited, super excited for all this. I started for this journey to United States of America. Always been there as a tourist, going there all by myself, alone. And from Nashik to Mumbai, when I reached Mumbai airport, the same gentleman who was there in the hospital, who had come to meet me, comes with an envelope, an A4 size envelope, sealed envelope, and says, if you win, open this envelope. If not, give it back to me with due respect. I said, क्या आदमी है एयरपोर्ट पे केबीसी खेल रहे हैं, ये हुआ तो वो करिए, ये हुआ तो वो करिए. But I was losing out on the time. I said, thank you so much, sir. And he said, always remember that one thing which I taught you. He has always told me one thing. मेहनत इतनी खामोशी से करो कि आपकी सफलता शोर मचाए. Work hard in silence and let your success make noise. What we all do. We announce a lot of things and then we realize nothing is working and we are just answering to people. People keep asking, what's happening next? What's happening next? You were supposed to do that. First do, then the world will celebrate. That moment, picked up that envelope, put it in my purse and left for Minneapolis. From Mumbai to London and London to Minneapolis, I had only one thing in my mind. कि भारत की महिला आहे कशी, भारतीय महिला आहे कशी. That one thing I was repeating and finally I spoke it aloud in the flight. लात मारेल तिथे पाणी काढेल. There was something which was happening on my mind and this thing clicked one after the other. Reached there, I really wanted to win that glittering gold crown of Mrs. Global United 2017. The moment I reached there and I met those 51 great cancer conquerors, I was like, we are already winners who are all here on the same platform. And the journey started. That moment, that was scary. That was really scary. That was way too loud. No worries. This is the last episode. And I had a judge from Japan. She was Aya, and she asked me that if we give you the citizenship of any other nation, would you like to go ahead? Believe me, one thing I would just like to tell you that never be ashamed of where you belong to. I'm born in Dhulia. I'm brought up in Nashik, and I'm very happy, very proud to write Nashik everywhere. They're asking me, where is Nashik? If I can Google Minneapolis, you too can Google where is Nashik. And that moment, I said that Janani Janma Bhumishcha Swargadapi Gariyasi, my motherland, my mother India is the most beautiful of all, and very proudly I would like to be as an Indian and would like to die as a proud Indian. They were very happy to note that being proud of your own tradition gets you so closer to life. And exactly those things happened. Final question. And thanks to my school, Zarika sir is here, and I would just like to mention this one, short 2-minute episode. That last question was, describe women in one sentence. There was Mrs. Venezuela, Mrs. South Africa, India, Borneo, and Puerto Rico. And we were all with headphones because we couldn't listen to any other, someone else's answer. And in 7th standard, there was a competition in my school, and we had to win. And my teacher was like, if you forget these lines, we are bound to lose. I was, oh my God, I'm not supposed to lose that. So everything in the washroom, everywhere, I had written those lines, and they were by heart. Those lines in 7th standard, which I had, really worked hard on, helped me there for my final question to describe women in one sentence. We live in a country where it is very difficult to describe women in even 1,000 episodes of daily soaps or even any movies, but I tried. I said, thank you judges for the question. Though it's very difficult to describe women in one sentence, but I will try. For me, women is the generator, operator, creator, and director of this world. And the glittering crown came to us, everything happened, and the sash was there, and immense happiness, tears were flowing down, and I said, I remember that envelope. I know that educational consultant person, the senior person, will not give me something like that. I said, excuse me for just 5 minutes and I will just be back. I rushed to my room, and the other contestants who could not even come to the finalists were already there just to have the glance of the entire tiara and the crown. But I was behind that envelope. I just opened the drawer and picked up that envelope and opened it. I cried my heart out. I was right there standing, and everybody stood up in the room. You know what was there in that envelope? First time in my life, I had held a tricolour flag of our India. Khadi ka Rashtra Dhwaj was in my hand. 15th August and 26th 26th January, that's how we salute our national flag, and that moment was so touching and endearing to me. I just walked for the press conference and the entire team said just turn. There were flags of 51 countries and one which was on the most topmost was our flag of the country because India had won the crown. And that moment I realized कि भारतीय होने की आन बान शान क्या होती है. That entire episode was so thrilling, overwhelming. Coming to the last part. After 1.5 months, we worked for CCRF, it's Childhood Cancer Research Funds from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And for 1.5 months, we had to work for all the cancer centers. Ronald McDonald House, who takes care of the kids who are treated for cancer in the United States, and that was the service which was given in our contract. After such a long time, I was coming back to my nation. I was thrilled, overjoyed, and one thing was hitting me, that my WhatsApp was not checked by that sister, that nurse. Finally, if you closely see the crown, it has a golden ribbon right in the center, which says that she is a proud cancer conqueror. It's no beauty pageant, it's a beautiful pageant for a beautiful cause. I was coming back and I was so sure that I'm going to go and meet her in the hospital and hug her and show her that exactly cancer has a face now. I landed, it was 3 a.m. in the morning, my husband, set of family members, they were all there. I said, we are going to Andheri, we are going to the hospital right now. They said, and the vehicle actually took a turn towards Nashik. I said, excuse me, I told my husband, I'm telling you that we have to go to the hospital to meet the nurse. She has not even seen any of my WhatsApp. My husband just quietly said, she's no more. Good people, good things, good time in your life. Hold it tight in your hand. Kya pata kal ho na ho. So many episodes, so many things. I'm associated with numerous NGOs but haven't started one because these talk sessions make me reach your heart. Make people understand that cancer is curable, conquerable, and cancer can be beautiful. There are times which come in life which give you different shades of life, and post this thing every day has been an extensive journey of dealing with so many people around, so many cancer patients, being a mother to 1,800 children who are contacted with cancer. Gives me one feel, it is not a good number. I always feel that the number should go down, but it's not happening. We can all contribute by living a very healthy, happy life, which I realized a few years ago, and very recently, as I had in my initial introduction, it was written as a journey from cancer to crown. No, it is a journey from cancer to crown and to the national champion powerlifting. First Indian woman to win 3 golds at national level for powerlifting. If you look at me, you will realize that, is she making sense? But the ones who've seen the post, they've realized I picked up a sport where it's all governed by men. I have picked up a sport which shows what kind of strength you should have here. It's not in those weights which I'm lifting, it's right in your mind here. Lastly, I would just like to say one thing, that जिंदगी के कई इम्तिहान अभी बाकी है. जिंदगी के कई इम्तिहान अभी बाकी है. जिंदगी की असली उड़ान अभी बाकी है. अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन हमने. अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन हमने. अभी तो सारा आसमान बाकी है. Thank you Goonj Talks for having me here. Goonj Talks की गूंज गूंजती रहे, यही दुआ करती हूँ. Thank you so much.